Alright guys, Sunday morning, and the forecast was correct. There was an 80% chance of rain today, and we have a 100% chance of rain at the moment. So, good day to be in the garage. Got the British Open on. Always enjoy the British Open. And we're just checking out the bottom of the TR250 this morning, and it looks pretty darn good. Nicely dried up. So I think what we're going to do today is we are going to put the body back on the frame, and we're going to get those wooden bucks off, and we are going to continue on with the prep of the body tub. And obviously there needs to be some work done where these bucks are attached. It needs to be epoxy primed and Raptor linered behind these bucks. So we'll do that once we get it off and onto the frame. And then we'll start working on the interior of the tub as far as body work is concerned. There's some work I want to do in the engine compartment, in the trunk, and in the passenger compartment. And then we'll fit the fenders up, and we'll start working on the body work for fenders, matching the fenders to the body tub, that kind of thing, getting the gaps correct. And we'll keep moving forward. So that's the plan for today. First thing will be to get the tub back on the frame. Alright, I think it's been a couple hours that I've been playing around out here. We managed to get the body back on the frame rather successfully. I had a little scratch over here already on the bottom of my undercoating. Just had it inside the frame, but anyway, we'll touch that up, no big deal. Just got to make sure we don't do that when we get to the paint stage. We don't do anything silly like that, so we got to be a little bit more careful. Anyway, we're taking the opportunity to clean the garage a little bit and do a little bit of reorganization and move some stuff around. So that's making me feel a little bit better. We're sweeping some of the dirt out of here, moving some of the stuff off the walls. So anyway, we'll just keep continuing on out here. It's not going to be a big work day. It's going to just be more of an organization day. And like I said, the thing I really wanted to do is get these wooden bucks off and get them stored away. We won't need those, I don't think, until the next restoration. We'll probably be able to use these on the TR4 down the line, so we'll tuck them away safely with the hardware, and they'll be put to good use again. Alright guys, we've got the wooden bucks off, and we've got some repairs to do now. We need to fill up the holes where we had drilled for the bucks to fit on the B-post. And I've got a few other little repairs, a little rust hole here, a little rust hole here. And I had some other holes. I think these were for rust proofing. That didn't work too well, did it? So I'm going to probably just plug those rust proofing holes up while I'm there. So the B-post needs some work. The A-post needs a little bit of work, but not too bad. Just needs to be epoxy primed. And then let's take a look at the other side. This one looks a little worse for wear. So I've got a bigger hole here to repair. Some craziness up there. And a hole down there to repair, and then we've got to drill the holes for the threaded inserts because we didn't put them in on this side yet. So we'll go ahead and do that once we get those other holes welded up. And of course we got the same thing on the front side, a bunch of holes to repair here as well. I also found this bit of a void here that we're going to have to fix. I think it was just full of filler, and obviously when it media blasted, all the filler just came out of there. And I also found a little area here on the bottom of the B-post that had a big chunk of filler in there and just sort of rattled around and came out the other day. So we'll make a little patch to go in there as well and fix that up properly. So welding's not quite done yet, but it's getting close. And on the upside, the garage is looking a little more clean and definitely more organized than it was. So it makes me feel a little better. We got a bit more room to work. It'll be a little bit tight on the right hand side, but not too bad. So we'll go to town on this over the next few nights when we get home from work. I've got to be a little bit careful with the Raptor liner for a couple days. I'm not supposed to get anywhere close to it with water until it's hardened a bit or cured a bit more. So I wanted to start working on these areas back here, but we'll probably wait a day or two before we get to that point. Alright, I figured while this car was on the frame now, I could remove the structural bars, and I wanted to do that because behind the bars has never been finished, and it obviously didn't get media blasted behind there because the bars were on at the media blasters. So we have an opportunity to refinish behind there now and epoxy prime that properly. It also gives me better access to the interior of the car. I still do want to do a little bit of work in here. I'm probably going to throw a little skim coat of fiberglass filler on these floors. Although they're not in too bad a shape, they are a little bit pitted. So I'd rather just put a skim coat of fiberglass on there so I don't have any water sort of pooling in the dimples left by the rust corrosion over from the previous years. So they're solid, but like I said, they're a little pitted. I figured we'd do a little fun project to end the weekend. We got to go in soon. It's getting close to dinner time, and after dinner I got to get ready for work tomorrow. So I figured what we do to have a little bit of fun is we'd actually try to paint a small panel to figure out how we like this Chrysler color. It's called Nightwatch Blue that we mixed up according to the closeness to the stock color of royal blue. So I've got all the materials here to be able to do a quick spray out on a panel. I am just going to use a spray bomb clear coat, so it probably won't come out the greatest, but it will give us an idea of what the color actually looks like, and we'll be able to decide whether we want to go with it or not. So let's go ahead and do this little project. So I'm going to cut a little piece of metal out, we'll get it primed up, sanded down and primed up, and then we want to make it obviously as accurate as possible, so we're going with gray primer, which will be probably the color of the primer that I go with on this car. And we'll probably do 3 coats of color on top of the panel, but we'll see when we get there. Here's the first mist coat on top of the gray primer. Here's what it looks like on the stick. I know it's going to be hard to see through the camera, but anyway, we'll give it 3 or 4 coats and see how we do. Second coat. Third coat. I think we'll go 1 more coat and we'll call it good. And then we'll put the clear coat on after it flashes. Alright, there's coat number 4. I think we'll stop there. And then we'll let that flash off and we'll go to the clear coat. Well, a bit of a bummer. I've just applied my first coat of rattle can clear, and you can see a bit of a shadow there at the top. Not sure if my clear is, I mean, I've had that can for quite some time, so that's probably old and expired. So anyway, it looks like the bottom of the panel is going to be okay. Just that top part we'll have to discount. So hopefully we'll get 1 more spray out of this can, and then we can let it dry and see what it looks like with the clear applied. Sunday night I'm with Les. Les was telling me about this car he found. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but what a sad sight. I mean, at least put the frickin' top up on the car. It just drives me nuts. I've seen so many cars like this with the top down, so the interior is absolutely trashed. But anyway, we're going to see if we can get a little bit closer look at it. Pretty sad because this car actually didn't look like it was in that bad a condition. It's actually an overdrive car, still got the overdrive badge on it. I haven't actually gone underneath, but you can see the stock there for the overdrive. Anyway, sad, sad, sad. I'd like to get the commission number of this car, at least. Anyway, we'll see.
And the roof.
Yeah, actually the roof actually was in good shape at one point. I don't know why the heck wouldn't they have put this down. The COM number is CF53282U, so it wasn't an overdrive car from the factory. The paint is 82, the trim is 11. I know 11 is black, so that's interesting. It does have an overdrive badge on the back of the car, so February 76 is the build date. Anyway, interesting. Okay, we've cracked the engine bay. It actually doesn't look that bad in here. It's actually got .5 in it, which leads me to believe it's fairly recently off the road. You know, even the coolant's been checked on the radiator. Yeah, interesting. Obviously it's had a color change. Looks like it was maybe a carmine red. Hard to tell. And we'll check on the numbers when we get home, but interesting car that Les has found in a field. I'd be interested to see if they actually still has the overdrive.
When was the last time you saw one of them on?
Yeah, they always have them. He's looking at the Leyland badges. I'm gonna try to get under it and see if it's still got the overdrive. All right, just back from my little road trip with Les to go and see that TR6, and we're just checking on our paint sample. There's the vent lid from the car, and here is the paint sample that's clear coated, and I think it looks pretty good as far as the color is concerned. It's not exactly a match, but again, I don't believe this was the stock paint on the car anyway. It had a repaint, so we're basically going off what the assumed color of royal blue is. And like I said, I think that looks pretty darn good. Let me see if I can just grab it and take it over to another light so you can have a look at it. Again, it's got some trash in it, and that clear coat was giving me some issues, but here it is. Here it is, and some other light. So I think that's going to be a pretty good color. Again, I don't know how well this is going to come out on the camera, but I think that's looking like that's going to be the color of the car. So, if you can imagine that on there. Looks a little dark, but I think it's good. It's got that sort of hint, you know, purpley blue like royal blue should be. So I think we're going to be good to go with that. So, yeah, I think that's the color. So there you go, one more choice done. And like I said, I believe that's a Chrysler color, and I'm not sure of the name now, but what did I call it before? I don't think it's on the can here, is it? No, it just says DB9. I think it's called Nightwatch Blue is the color. So let's see if this little guy makes any difference in the light. I think that's going to be good. Alright, that's it for tonight, guys. We'll upload this and we'll get back out here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And again, one more shot of the new color versus the existing color. I know it's kind of hard to tell. Obviously this looked a little darker, but I think it's a fairly good match. Alright, I'm really going this time.